Woohoo! It looks like we're live. Are we live? I think we're live. Yay! Hello! Welcome to another series of Practicalli. This week is going to be very interesting because I'm totally unprepared. And so this could be, yes, I might need a lot of help on this one. So thank you for joining me. My name is John Stevenson, and we are going to cover some more Codewars challenges today. And I'm not sure how many we're going to do. We're going to try and do one, and then if we've got time, we'll try and do another one. As I say, I haven't actually looked at these in any detail, so this is going to be live solving of the challenge. And we're going to start with the booksellers challenge, which was just one that picked up at random from the Codewars site. So let's switch over to the website. So I pasted the link into the chat window, so you can go there as well, have a look at it yourself. But basically the instructions, so it's saying where we've got bookseller, it's got books classified in categories A to Z, so the letters of the alphabet, and each has a code with 3 or more. So we can see if we look in the tests, well, there's me, let's get rid of me. Boom, I've gone. And then let's get rid of that as well. Boop, boop, boop. Then we can see that here we've got, there we go. Here we've got a list of categories and a list of the stock of the books that it's got here as well. So we could cheat and just pass the sample test just by writing a function that just returns this. But that wouldn't be very actually, yeah, that'd be interesting. Does it work that way? Oh, let's see, I'm on Vim, aren't I? Whee! There we go. I keep forgetting I'm using Vim on here. Boom, there we go. So if I did that, I think it might just work. Is it going to work? Yay! I passed the tests. That is cheating. That's called cheating. That's not so good. But at least we know that the tests are running. So we can use the test to kind of help us understand what the challenge is. Let's see in the instructions. Oh, why is it not going back to the... Oh, I'm clicking on the wrong place. Clicking on OBS rather than the website. There we go. So we've got these... so we've got a list of stocks, and then we've got categories that we want to go and find in the stocks. Yeah, we're done. If only it was that easy. And then... well, I guess it's a very much like a TDD approach, like doing the kind of the... write a test, make the test pass, and then write another test. Obviously, if we run all sample tests, if we did the attempt, I'm pretty sure that's not going to work. I'm pretty sure we can't get away with that. No, here we go. So we write some more tests, and now we need to make these tests pass. Yeah, we do get one pass. So this is, yeah, so it does include the one pass test. And we could use this to see... yeah, we could use this, but I think trying to hack these tests to make them all pass would be harder than actually just writing a bit of code to make them all pass. But we can see what's actually happening, and you can actually go and kind of see what the tests are in that respect. If you weren't quite sure, you can always see what the results of running these tests are by doing the attempt, and you can attempt. I think you can attempt it as many times as you want. And then once the attempt has successfully passed all the tests, then you can submit. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. So where do we get to? Yeah, so we want to take each category and then go and look at the stock and then find out how many items are in the stock and return that value. and it's saying that we want to return it as a vector of vectors for closure. I think in some other languages it's saying just return it as a string. And we need to make sure that the value should be a positive integer. So I guess if we don't find any of the A categories, so there aren't any A category books in here. There's no category starting with A. So we'd return 0. Yeah, okay. I'm not sure if we might need to do some nil. If we see a nil, we just convert it to 0. We might come across that situation. And then, yeah, this is just repeating that. So we want that. So these are all unique books. But we only really need to find out whether the first character in the book is of that type of category, and then we can say we want to have a look at that one because it's matching B and that one's matching B. This is saying that return an empty array, but that's not what the tests are saying. So I think there's a bit of a disconnect between the description and the tests, because the description is saying if there's nothing in A, you'll just return an empty list. However, in this example, we're returning the category with 0 rather than just like an empty one. So we'll take our cue from the tests, because there's no point in rewriting the test because there's probably other tests that do the same thing. Okay. Well, nobody's pasted the solution into the chat yet, so let's have a go at trying to solve this. Okay, I'm going to create a project to do this in, so I can do it in in my editor. So I'm just going to create a new project. So clojure alias new, and I'm going to do, is it code? I'm going to put it under the Codewars domain, and then we're going to call it, what do we call it now? Help the bookseller. Let's go to help the bookseller. So here I'm just using the Clojure command line tools, so the deps.edn approach to Clojure projects. I've already defined an alias in my main Clojure file to call out to a little add-on which is called clj new, which is a bit like doing lining anew, or it creates a project for us in a standard kind of structure. Codewars is the overall kind of namespace, and then help the bookseller will be the main project. That will be the main source code file. Why is it downloading Joda time, I wonder? Interesting. Oh, I didn't put in, oops. I forgot I missed something. There we go. So I told you I wasn't prepared. And so we want to specify a template. I'm just going to call it, lib for now. We don't really need to run this as an application. I'm just going to have it as a library. And there we go. So that's created. So we should be able to go into help the bookseller, because it creates a help the bookseller folder, and in that folder we've got our deps.edn file for our configuration, and then we've got the source path. So it's using this Codewars top level part of the namespace, and then help the bookseller. And obviously we're still having to use underscores because Java doesn't like load files off the class path with dashes in the names. And we've got our matching test branch there as well. So we've got everything we need. Let's open this up in my editor. I'm using Emacs. You can use any Clojure-aware editor you want, or you can use any editor you want. You can always run a REPL on the command line as well. So let's do, let's open the file. Oops. So help the bookseller. I'm just going to open the deps.edn file for now. Is there anything we need to add? So we just got Clojure 1.10.1. It's already adding. It's adding this test. It's adding this test path here as an alias called test. I'm actually going to put that into the paths here because this way. Oops. Adding it here means I don't have to use a test to be able to include all the test code on the default path. So it's not something I would do for a production thing because it would then include all the tests in production. But it's handy for not having to provide an alias to my editor in order to tell it to include the tests directory. So it will, if we go back to here, oops. So if we put tests in the path, then it will look at these files as well and compile them. And so when I run tests in my editor, then it'll work. If I'm running, if I include an alias when I run my REPL, then I don't need to do that. Or if I'm just running like test runner, then I can just specify the alias test and runner, and it will do everything. And then we've got the jar file, but I don't think we need to create a jar file for this. All right, let's have a look at the source code. Boom, boom, and we can get rid of that. And if we go back to the website, we can copy our source code. I'm just going to use the same function name and signature, so that the tests will call the same thing. It just makes it easier to switch between the two, and plus I don't have to think of another name, which is nice. That's not what I wanted to do. No, that's not what I wanted to do either. Yeah, I will get copy paste working between these two eventually. Sorry, Dane. Let's do that. That's Y. Try that again. No. Let's try the normal copy control paste. So I'm going to select that, and then copy it from there, and then paste it from here. There we go. So now we get a lesson in how to copy paste from Codewars into Emacs. There we go. I put a little bit of commentary here, just so I was having a quick read before we started. But that's about as far as I've got, really. Okay, so we want a real function. And let's copy across the tests as well. Now I remember how to copy the tests. Okay, we can keep that. So we can just copy the def test over here as well. Oops. Copy that. Boop. And then do switch to the test section. There we go. And it's got the same refer all thing, so we're just using refer all just to pull in everything from the help the bookseller. Get rid of this. Nope. Right. Let's just evaluate that. and evaluate my, oh, did I running the REPL? I'm not running a REPL, am I? Yeah, oops. Let's run a REPL. We're just running a clojure REPL, null clojure REPL. There we go. That might work a little bit better. And with REPLs running. Okay, so that's showing that that's evaluated. Space PA, switch back. That's evaluated, so now we can run our tests. Boom. And they fail. And that's to be expected because we haven't done anything to make it pass. Cool. We go and uncomment that. We evaluate that and run the tests again. It passes. So yeah, we can make the tests pass, we can make the tests fail. So everything's working okay in Emacs. But let's do some proper code to make it work. Oh, nobody's still nobody's pasted in the answer yet. There's 5 people watching, so if you do get any ideas, let me know. Okay, so what do we got? Let's look at the tests. We've got this. We've got that. This is our stock. So if we do a defen, we do a def, and then sample stock, and there we go. So I'm just creating a def, so just so I can play around with some of the data and like test things out using the REPL. And I do a def for these, def for the sample cut, and then grab that. Ooh. Boom. And evaluate both of these. Okay. So now we can use sample stock and sample categories and just evaluate those, and I get the results there. So I can use that when I'm playing around with things. So I can call stock list with sample. So which list? Sample list of books, list of categories. So books first, and then sample categories. So that's how I'd call it, and you get nil because it's returning nothing, but it has to return. A function has to return something, so it returns nil because we haven't actually specified anything. If we do that. Evaluate that again. Yeah, so it's that call's working as well. Nope. Okay, how do we solve this? So what's the simplest thing? So we need to look up. So if we look up the letter, each of these letters, to see if they're the start of these things. So how do we do that? So we could map a function over that. If we map a function over that, if we map a predicate over that, then it's just going to return true and false. So we would map, if we use a function, if you use a filter instead of map, then it will still do the true and false. We can still map a predicate over it, and but it will return the result of that rather than just true and false. So we get something like a filter. Oops. Let's do filter, and then we need some kind of function that we're going to map over there with some arguments. It's going to take a category. So that will be like A, B, C, and D, and then it's going to see if it's equal. category, and then how do we get the first character of a string and make it a string? This is where we go and ask Google. So we want to get the first string. Oh, we could do first, but is that going to return a character? Let's see. We do first of this. First of this. So that kind of works, but it returns a character, and a character and a string are not going to be equal. But if we wrap string around that, this is not entirely pretty, but there we go. If we just wrap string around there, then we get B. So we could do that. That's kind of simple-ish. Or easy. I think that's more easy than simple. So we put that into, we need to pull in of the category of and then oops. Oh, that's not category, is it? So that might need to be. Oh, because we need to iterate through both of them as well, don't we? Because we need to iterate through the categories and through the list of books. So let's just do a simpler example. Oops. So if we've got our, where we go? We've got a sample stock. So we do a filter over sample stock, where the we just do an anonymous function. We can put the shorthand syntax for an anonymous function. We can then just do we can see if there's any A's in there. Oops, did I not? There we go. What have I done? Oh, yes. Oops. I evaluated it too quickly. I didn't put the hash in front of here to make it an anonymous function. Let's do that. So this is the same as using the this is just a shorthand for that, basically, without having to specify the fn name and the explicitly giving a name to the argument that we pass into that function. So A doesn't, A gives an empty result, so that's okay because that's what to expect because there's nothing in A. If we do that for B, oops, B. We can get rid of that. Cool. Oh yeah, so B works in that respect because we are getting 3 values. So we're getting all the values back that match. That's good. And then we could just do. So we copy that. If we wrap that in vals, that will just get the values for that. Or will it? Oh, maybe it won't actually. No, because it's not. Because those are strings. That's not going to work, is it? No. That's not map. If they were maps, if they were key value pairs, I could do vals and just get the value. But I'll need to split. I guess I'll need to split the string on the space and then just get the second half. So we can use clojure.string and I think splits and go on, there we go. So it does the so the string and then the regular expression. So it's just using a regular expression to split them. So the string would be it would just be a space. Oh no, the string is the that, and the regular expression is going to be the space. So we took this result and let's just change that to a vector. Oh, well, that didn't work. Let's try that again. Oh, yes. Boom. Boom. So just put that in a vector. So it's just all data. So if we do this, then oh, well, that didn't work. What did I do? I've got them in the wrong order. I put them in the wrong order. Oh, I'm missing a. Do I need to require? I don't think I need to require for this. Probably should have a require. Unless it's changed. Let's do a quick require. So let's require. We want clojure.string, and let's just do it as string for now, and then we can change this to string. Boom. Oh, I've broken it. What am I doing? Have I got this the wrong way around? Splits a string on a regular expression. It's a string and then. Oh, it's a. Oh, I need to map it over. That's what I'm not. Yes. Oh, I am awake. Yeah, so I need to map the split string over each of these values to get the results, don't I? Yes, of course I do. Whoops. Yeah, because if I can just, so that would work for a single string. Oh, and that's not even a regular expression. Dear. This is fun. There we go. So that's a regular expression now. Oops, sorry. I can code, honest, sometimes. So we're defining a regular expression here, which is just so the syntax for a regular expression is a hash and then double quotes, and then the pattern you want to define. So the pattern for a space is just a space. That's fairly straightforward. So we're basically saying here we want to split on the string where there is a space, so it should create two strings, one with b bar and one with 150 in there. Yes, cool. Okay. And then we can use split string to map that over a. If we map like a split string, a string split over each of these, then we get the values and then we can sum them up. So let's try and do that. So if we do that, and then so we take the string is going to be Yeah. Yeah. There we go. So we're just going to put a placeholder in there. So that's the argument that's going to come in. And then we're going to use map. Map. And we want to map the function. So we slurp this in. Turn that into an anonymous function. Oops, that's not right. There we go. And oops. And then slurp in our data. There we go. So we're going to map this split string split over each of these strings, and we should get the result. And then we just need to add them up. Yeah, I am splitting a. Yeah, you can't split a list with a split string, unfortunately. So we're getting closer. There we go. And then we want to take that result and then we want to get the second value of that. There's probably just a function that does all this for me, but let's just work through it step by step. So that result we want to be able to map. So we map second over this. No. Yes, that's right. Let's change that to a vector. So it's easier, just it's all data. So we do that, then we get the individual values, and then we need to add them up, but they're strings. And I'm pretty sure we can't add strings together. I'm pretty sure if we took that, we couldn't actually add. Where are we? Strings together. So if because we can't. So ideally, we'd want to, if we had like a array of numbers, 50, 250, and 890. Good numbers, then we could do apply plus to those and slip that in, and we get the result. So that's the kind of result we want to do, but we got strings. And if we try to do that with strings, then it would go. Let's just check. Boom. So it's easy to check. Yeah. So we can't cast a string to a number automatically. So we need to convert them ourselves. So we first need to map over. Map. I think there's an int. Int, what does that do? Will it do a string? Or will that just so it coerces to int, but what will it coerce? Sometimes the docs are a little bit too brief. Let's see if it works. It might not. We might need to use the integer from Java, the integer function from Java, which will create an integer object from a string. But maybe map int will work as well. Yeah, there we go. Oops. No, that doesn't work. So instead of int, there's integer. Or there's also, I think there's parse int. Let me Google. I think that's part of Java lang. Let me just double check. Clojure parse int. There we go. How do I convert a string to a number? Ooh, this is tiny writing. There we go. Oh yeah. Oh, it's just oh, so you can do this. Oops. Yes, we can just use integer dot. I'm sure there's a parse int function somewhere, unless I imagined it. Is it a Java? Oh, yeah, there is a parse int method. I'm sure there's something equivalent in Clojure, but Clojure int read string. What does read string do? I think it just read something from a file and make it into a string. Possibly, I'm not sure. Let's have a look. There's integers, ints are shorts, it's int array. Oh, there we go. Somebody's put it as a comment. There we go. So I could use integer parse int as well, which I think is the more preferred form of you just using, rather than just using integer as an object. So we got a couple of options there. So we could do, oops. So we could just do integer. And we're using a dot to create, so that's like doing new. It's like doing an, integer, my integer equals new integer, and then putting the string as an argument at the end. So this is like this is creating a new, the dot means creating a new integer object, or a new object of type integer. Except that didn't work. What am I doing? Oh, I have to probably do that as a function, proper function call. Yes, that would make sense. Wrap that. Let's do the percent and do the hash. So this is an anonymous function. So that works, but you can also do, what was it, parse int? Let me check. Yeah, parse int. Oops. Oh, there it is, parse int. I think that's the one that's preferred. It's a bit more descriptive as well about what you're actually doing. What does read string do? I'll give you, I've used it before, but I can't remember now. Let's have a look. Read string. Ooh, it might be useful. Reads one object from the string. Specified. Read string can execute code. So what's it doing? Oh, it is. Yeah. That does seem to. Oh, that does seem to work. Oh, that's quite nice. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. I hadn't thought of doing that before. Thank you very much for the suggestion. So I like a bit of audience participation. It's great. It's great to have. Thank you. So we could just do read string. Read string. Yeah, that works as well. Awesome. Well, I like that because then it's not, doesn't feel like, I guess I kind of only do Java interop when when I need to. I do prefer using just the clojure stuff. I mean, we can just use all the Java methods and Java static methods as function calls as cells, but it's nice to have like a just clojure there. Cool. So we have to start gluing this back together now. Oh my god, that's a lot of stuff. So where shall we start? Yeah, it is a bit, it's not the most safe of things to do to just read random strings. Yeah, because I think in the example here it's showing you an interesting thing that could happen. So if you're reading in, if you're reading a string that's got a function in, then it's going to, is it going to execute that function? Oh yeah, well, you'll still need to do eval on that. So yeah, as long as you're not evaluating what you're reading in. Although, oh, that's print string. Okay, right. So the print string is doing the calculation anyway, so that's fairly safe. So I think it should be. Well, I think it depends what you do with what you have read in using read string. I think that's you just need to, yeah, you do need to have some appreciation of what you're reading in, especially if you're just pulling it from some other system that you don't control, or even systems you do control. Yeah, so I'd probably put some spec or pneumatic schema, or even some input validation if the data is coming from a user interface. You put some validation in there just to make sure that strange things aren't coming through. And if it's from an external system, obviously you'd check to see it wasn't something dubious before you use something like read string on it. I guess integer is more specific, like passing an integer from a string. Then I guess if you try and pass something else that isn't an integer, it does do the checking for you. So that's one slight advantage of that, I think. How are we doing? Ooh, 15 minutes left to solve it. I'm sure the answer's in here or somewhere. There we go. So we've got, so we can read in the values and add them up. We can get the values, and then we can map split over that to get that. So we could use a little sort of threading macro to filter things through things. I guess, or could we? Otherwise it's going to get very messy. Going to get a lot of nested statements, a lot of nested maps and applies. So if we do a threading macro, let's do it at the end. If people are so threading macro, we can just pass in so the results of the first line get passed as an argument to the second line, and so on and so on. So we'll see that in a moment. So we'd have apply plus, and that we feed in map read string to that. Oops. Oh, so that wants to be, does that want to be in a, that needs to be wrapped. Wrap that, slurp, there we go. Oh, we want to map second over there, map second, and there. So we get the argument. Argument goes there for there, and the argument goes there. So commas are just white space. So I'm just putting them as a placeholder for where the argument from the line above would go. So when I've done the map read string, the result of that would go into where the 3 commas are. What else are we doing? Oh, we did split, didn't we? To get there. Oops. We'll just get rid of that, because that's going to be where the argument goes. Let's put that on one line. So this becomes a little kind of pipeline for things, and then we can then see if we can convert. We could use comp or even a transducer if we were feeling fancy, but I don't think we'll have time to do that. Was there anything else I did? Oh, I still need to filter out for a... Oh yeah, we need to do this for an entire collection as well, I guess. So I guess we need to map this threading macro over each of the collection. Interesting. Oh yeah, so we need to filter... what did I do here? I can't remember what I was doing here. Oh, okay. Why are we using first? Oh, on the first letter. Okay, yes. So we're getting the first letter. I've written this so long ago, I've forgotten what I was doing. So we're getting the string of the... So we're converting the first letter of these back to a string, because it'll first we'll create a character, and then we can filter out... so we put that in there. This seems quite complicated. I'm sure there's an easier way that I've forgotten to do this. Let's wrap that. No, that's not right. Oops. Let me grab the whole thing. Oops. So there we go. So this is our processing pipeline. Let's get sample stock. So that must be a particular category. So we need to pass in, well, if we just did this for B for now, then we worry about how to do it for all of the things above. We'll just check to see whether that's working. So we've got our, what's it, sample stock. There we go. So we take the sample stock and then we filter it to get the results of B. And then we split the strings so we can just get the second string, which is the value, and then we convert that into an integer, and then we add the values up. We get the result for B, and then we just need to figure out how to map that over the entire thing and get a result for each of them. It works! So we're close. We're very close. Oh, nobody's posted the working answer yet. Let's see, how are we doing? Oh, we got 7 people watching. Thank you all very much for joining us. This is an interesting experiment, so I hope you're getting something from it. And then, so we can do it for one category. We need to do it for all of those categories. So if we could make this a function. So make this a little helper function. And put it up here. Helper function. Data. So if we make a function, let's do let's cheat. There we go. B. What are we going to call this? Stock level. Let's call it stock level. It'll get the level of stock given a particular category. And then we can pop in our code. And do we need to stock? I think let's do stock and category. So we pass through stock through the here, and instead of hard coding it to B, then we can put in category, and then our linter will be happy that we're using category. There we go. So that should work. Let's it should is not very certain, so let's just give a quick test for it. Yay. So if we do, did I evaluate? I didn't evaluate that, did I? There we go. Let's evaluate that and do stock level. Yeah, stock level. No, stock level. And we're going to pass sample stock over that, and we're going to give it a specific category. Let's call it B because we know the number that it's supposed to generate for that. And it works. Woohoo! So now we can abstract all of this big pipeline into a single function and then use that function to get all the numbers that we want. So that makes, so we can now forget about all that, how that pipeline works, and just think about how do we do the function over all of them. So we could just, obviously we can just do a map or a reduce, one of those. So that's simpler. So we can do, how do we do this then? So we map stock list over sample stock. No, no, that's not going to work, is it? Because we need to pass two arguments. Any suggestions? My brain's gone. Hello, kitty. Come on, cat. Hello. Hello, puss. The cat's not giving me any clues. Okay, there we go. What? You've been fed? Come here. God. Broadcasting, go away. No, I've gone blank now. So I can't use so map stock level. over the... No. Do I need to... No. My brain's gone. So map that over categories, don't we? Sample categories. And if we wrap this in an anonymous function, and then so we want to do stock level with there we go, with the sample stock, and boom. Oh, there we go. Numbers. Are they the same that are in the test? Good question. They look about the same. 12, 90, 15, and 600. Oops. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that worked. Okay. I'm sure there's something I missed off though. Oh no, that should work. Yeah, I think it will work. There we go. So I'm going to pass this to stock level, and so we want so this will be list of books. Yeah, there you go. List of books. So that is, which will be the sample kind of stuff that they pass in. And then the sample categories is the list of cat. Meow. List of cat. List of categories. So we evaluate that and run our tests. That's not what I was going to do. Test all. Denied. Oh dear. What did it do? Oh, it's not the right format. We're so close. So we got the numbers. We just need to put it into the right format. So we probably do want a reduce function rather than a map, I think. Let's see. I'm on there already. Draw. Results. Format. And then, so if we so as we map over, I suppose we could still use map, but then just return. We could even use a for loop, I guess, couldn't we? A for loop, just a for function. For category in list of cats. Do let results going to equal it's going to equal a vector, because that's the results, that's the format we want, and it's going to be the category, which is still going to be a string, isn't it? I think So that's going to be the string that we're passing in, because that's the string we get from list of cats. And then, oh yeah, and then we want the stock level. No, we want the stock level. Yeah. And we want to pass in the list of books. And the category. So that'll generate the value for this. There's a lot of square brackets there now. Oh, that's not right. What am I doing? Too many brackets. Let's unwrap that. I did that wrong. Oops. Let's unwrap that. There you go. No, what am I doing? Oh, no, that's right. Yeah. Because I want a vector. Yeah, so I want to return a vector. So results will be a vector of the category and the result of calling stock list with level list of books. Yeah. Yeah, what Paddy says is probably another way to do this as well. And then where do I put? So after the close one, then we just return result. I think that might work. And then we can just call stock list. Oh my god, it works. Does that work? Oh, that's too many. No, too many. Oh, too many brackets. Yeah, I didn't think I needed that. There we go. Oh, I've done it again. There we go. Yay! So I could get the stock level function to return. Yeah, I could get the stock level to return the sum numbers. Oh, yeah, I could. Yeah, I could update the stock level to. Oh yeah, I could. Because we've got the stock in the category, so actually I could just put that. Yeah, I could just stick that in there. I'll do a stock level 2 in a second. So this seems to work. So that's one option there. And oh yeah, so that did work, didn't it? Yes. So that gives us an answer, and we can also do. So if we just added this to the end, then it would return. Oh yeah, so that's, yeah, it's quite simple. Why didn't I think of that? So if we just, so we've got the result of apply is going to be the number. So if we just put that, will that go into a vector? No, I'm not sure. We can just do vector. It's a vector that creates one from the he creates a new vector containing the arguments. Yeah, okay, you can do that. So you do vector category, and then it will pull in the value. Yes. Why is that not lined up properly? Have I put it in the wrong place? Oh, I think I put it in the wrong place, haven't I? Whoopsie. If your things don't line up, you probably put it in the wrong bracket. Have I? No, that should be right. Why is it not? What have I done wrong? Yeah, that's the end of the Oh, that's the end of the defen. That's in the stock there. Oh, no, sorry. Yes. I am going crazy. There we go. It should be there. There we go. Vector of the category, and the result would go here. Yeah, because the result goes there. I had the result going in the wrong place. Again, these are just a placeholders. I don't actually need them in. It just helps me reason, and also helps me understand that I'm using a thread last macro rather than a thread first macro. Because if it's a thread first macro, then the result from the previous line would go before the other argument that's there, before the plus in that case, which would break the call to apply. Well, it wouldn't give us the right result. So if I do that, then this simplifies this quite a lot, because then I can just map over. Let's just comment that out with a reader macro comment. So should be able to just do a simple map over the. So we want to map over the list of categories. In fact, probably just this actually. Is it just this? Let's have a look. When in doubt, test it. So if we do this, so we evaluated that again, didn't we? And then. Oh, yeah, I didn't evaluate this, did I? So it's still using the old version of the stock level that I evaluated. So evaluate that again. Now this should. It works. Yes, that's much nicer, I guess, because all the hard work is just done in the helper function. So it's giving you the right format here, so we don't have to have like a for loop or something more complex. We can just simply call stock level. It's a simple expression, and we do that over for each of the characters that are in, or each of the strings that are in list of categories. Cool. Oh my god, we did it, and we're only at like 8 minutes over. Thank you very much for your support and help and suggestions. It's been very, very useful, and made this a lot less painless. A lot less, yeah. Very painless as well. If there are any final questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'll write this up, tidy this up a little bit, and then I'll push this to the code repository. And just as a reminder, if we go to GitHub, Practicalli, and then Codewars guides, then I'll push it up to here along with the other projects. So we've got rock, paper, scissors, and split strings. I think I've done that, and printer core. Yeah, and so you can just if you can clone this entire repository, and then you just go into each individual folder, and there is there's a deps.edn for that, and you can just load this particular project in and run it, and you can try out the code and solutions that are in there already. And so I'll do the same thing for the solution we've done today, just making it a little bit tidier, and just like stepping through how we got there as well. Okay, well, thank you very much for joining us. If you want to get in touch, then you can reach out to me via the Practicalli channel, or pretty much any channel on the Clojure in Slack. You can also send me a direct message if you don't want to ask something in public. Yeah, it's really interesting to see my own thought process as well. So yes, it's one of the reasons I do these videos, is to try and capture the thought process behind these things. I like to try and be a little bit more prepared and have some thoughts about what I'm doing, but and then we could do a few more exercises. But it was great to do that live, and try and get used to that as well. I think might be very useful for doing tech interviews for jobs. And if you want to support me, then there's the usual channel. So I've updated this, so it's like the subscribe to my YouTube channel. So there's a Practicalli one. There's also a JRocket one, but I'm not really publishing anything in there. But there are some videos that are on there that are, but everything's listed and linked in the playlists on the Practicalli channel. And there's PayPal if you want to donate anything directly, or you can sponsor me on GitHub. But that only seems to be in US dollars at the moment. Or you can just send me lots of encouragement in the chat. Which oh hey Bobby, how you doing? Thanks for all your amazing projects. Cool. All right, I'm going to leave it there, and thank you very much everybody for joining us. And now I've got internet back, I should be back as normal every week, and hope to see you all again soon. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Oh.